Roger Goodell,
Goodell.
good old Roger Goodell. He pretty much said in his interview in UK that he used the Buffalo Bills as a rat lab or a lab rat rather.
Rat Lab.
You get the point.
Bunch of rats.
So obviously their plan is to get a division in London, right? A whole division, a little
Whole
expansion.
division.
So he was saying, I don't have the quotes in front of me, but he said something along the lines of like, "Listen, man, we wanted to set up this season a team which is more familiar with London in the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Like the cons.
We want to set them up back-to-back weeks in London, just to see how they react and treat it while they're there, with two different teams coming in. We wanted to see if they could potentially cause a competitive advantage for the team that stays in London compared to the team that's flying in. Very weird for them to do this with like top tier teams in the league. Obviously, you want the exposure. Buffalo Bills are one of the best teams in the league, right? One of the most like expanded fan bases out
Yes.
there.
They'll go to the
So
games.
obviously that's going to draw eyes to the product, but why would you put them at a disadvantage like that? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, maybe they shouldn't have left Friday. That's kind of on them. But I don't know, man. Like, it's just it's a little weird to me. A little weird to me.
Well, I guess it's the same thing with East Coast to West Coast. Like, you're not going to leave a few days before. You want to get a little ready for the time change, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, even like Donnie was saying the other day, like, he thinks it's cheating having the Jags over there for 2 weeks in a row, not having like getting adjusted to the time and everything. So I don't know, man. I don't know if they like Goodell said, he wants them to have teams in London. What's your thoughts on how they would structure this thing, especially seeing how this weekend transpired, or the past 2 weeks rather?
I guess you just have to figure out traveling, right?
Well, that's number one for sure.
Because let's say you have the Rams going over there, but that team's already there. You got to get them out early. Because that big of a time difference there,
5 hours.
yeah, no one's gonna be able to do that.
So here's something I seen earlier today. I can't remember where I got it from. They were saying you got to set up a division there. So they're saying 4 teams, put them in whatever conference, doesn't make a difference, whatever. Have them go at it, like stay there but travel around. But for the teams coming in, have them play like 2 or 3 weeks in a row with every team in that division. So it's not a competitive disadvantage for them. Maybe it will be for the first game, but since they're already there, they can practice, get adjusted to the time difference, and play those other games so it's an equal playing field. I don't know how that will potentially work out. I mean, because like you said, the West Coast thing, they're not going to send the Rams out there to play one London team, send them back.
Back home and then back to the East Coast.
Right, and then go to London again. I mean, that's not fair.
Because even if it is a short week for them, they could play an East Coast team and then go over there. Like a Bills or a
Maybe.
Jets or whatever.
Oh, that's a whole nother level. Like, but
They would have to do that before a bye, though.
another
Give them time to
I've been reading a lot into this, and it's annoying to me because the way they do the NFL structure schedule, there's always a team. So if there's a European division, and there's a London team and a Paris team and a Dortmund team or whatever it turns out to be, they get 4 teams in London in Europe, which I think is possibly doable. The problem is that those 4 teams also have to come here.
yeah.
And so let's just say you're the Germany team. Because they can't, there's not 4 teams in London. There's not 4 teams in England.
No.
Realistically, it's going to be London, Germany, because they've already showed success in Germany.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Probably
You could do.
I'm gonna
Can you do two in each?
Spain and then probably Paris. Like I think those would be your 4 big cities.
Would
Could you do? Sorry to cut you off.
No, go
Could
ahead.
you do two in London? Like sort of like 2 New York teams and this and that. Whatever. You get the picture. 2 in London and 2 in Germany. You could do something like that. But
Based
I mean,
on
that's,
my research that I've done, and I'm not saying it's completely accurate, like look at the number of people that were at the Bills game and the Bills-Jaguars game.
what was the number?
That
had boots on the-
stadium's
we
like
had boots on the
60,000
ground,
or
bro.
something like that, 68,000.
And it was definitely filled. There's no doubt.
But I'm pretty sure the stat that I saw that over half of the people had come from the United States. So it wasn't like
Probably Orchard Park.
Probably.
like
That shit was
there's
fun.
a ton of people in Europe right now that turn this into a European trip. Like they're not going to do that every year. First of all, they're not going to do that every year. So you're depending on the teams that you're sending to Europe that it's not going to last. Like the fad's not going to last in my mind based on what again what I've been seeing. Yes, I'm not saying there are no European friends that want to watch American football. But I just don't think there's as many as the NFL's trying to say there is. In Germany, possibly. I think Germany, you got it. But London, maybe. Not. I think those other 2 teams are going to struggle. And it's going to be like the Phoenix Coyotes in hockey. Like, they're going to have a hard time filling these stadiums at these costs. And the blowback from these owners, if you're the Rams, stay with your example, to have to go all the way. Like, I don't know. And how you're going to put 2. I just don't think London's a huge city. And I was laughing over the weekend, like about, Bills fans, the Bills Mafia takes over London. London is like bigger than New York. So like, even with 40,000 people in London from Buffalo Bills fans, not to mention the Jaguar fans, there's still like there's so much other stuff going on in London just in the world of sports that are going on at the same time. So I just don't know if I think Roger Goodell's really big on this. I just think that he's kind of I look at all the negative that's coming out of these last couple things about as opposed to the positivity versus the negativity. I just don't know if Europe's ready for this yet. That's my soapbox.
Yeah, well, go ahead, brother.
I just think it's more eyes and more money for them. That's all
Well,
they
I
want.
mean, that's what it always
more
comes down to. That's all-
viewership, more money.
It's always the bottom line. But
Yeah.
I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm just assuming, especially with the way technology's advanced with social media and everything, the game's grown probably tremendously over there, probably since they've started going over there. And I think that's only going to keep happening with the growth of the sport and the stardom that all these players individually bring to each team, because now you're starting to see what's big in NBA is what? The players. There's more fans that follow the players than the teams, and I feel like you could potentially see that over in London. But then if they have their own team, maybe you start seeing more people come out and supporting their specific team rather than the ones coming in just for shits and giggles, whatever. But another thing to think about, too, is I also seen this pop up. There could be an advancement in the type of planes that get flown over there. I forget what the specific one was called, but
Yeah.
they were saying they're trying to get one where you can fly out from New York over to London within 4 hours or something. So I feel like once the technology starts to evolve and the transportation starts to evolve, I think that's when you probably realistically see teams over there make the travel easier. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that's what their thought process is. And I mean, the more they have those games over there, the more exposures they're going to get.